Here we go again.
Welcome to part 17 of the USS Voyager rebuild. Now you know from the last episode, the portside nacelle is just not working at all. It's completely dead, including the impulse engine. Everything is just dead. Now, after speaking to Keith Purcell from the Styrene Addiction UK forum, we sat down and had a little bit of a chat about this, and we kind of come to the conclusion that the issue, because this is dead, that the issue is going to be from there to the kind of from this pylon into the fantail. Now, what we've decided that we're going to do, or what I need to do, sorry, because Keith lives in Australia, so he can't actually help me with this part. What I'm going to need to do is try and sort of carefully remove the top of the pylon off and see exactly what is going on inside the kit. Now, hopefully, if it's something that's glaringly obvious, we can repair the damage and then get the thing working, and then glue the top back on and try and match the paint to what's on the ship already, because unfortunately the paint that I did have left for this was used up doing all of the little touches that needed to, the little touch-ups that needed to be done along the way. So I've actually run out of that paint now. So what I'm going to need to do is try and mix up some by eye and make it slightly lighter than what's on the kit, because we need to put the clear coat over the top of it once it's done to blend it back in again. Now, if I can't see anything obvious around this area where any damage, etc., then unfortunately I'm just going to need to put it back together and leave it as is, because if I try to rip open the kit to fix that issue, then I'm going to pretty much destroy the kit and it's going to be useless anyway. So I'm kind of hoping that, maybe one of the wires has got snagged on the inside and broke. We just don't know until we get in there and have a look. So I'm going to get the model taken off the stand to begin with, because I think, to be fair, it's going to be easier to repair this kit when it's off the stand. And then I shall just open up that nacelle, get in there, take a little look and see what's going on. And then also I noticed, actually, from the last film as well, around the starboard side of the fantail, it's actually opened up there for some reason. I don't know why, but it has. To be fair, I always leave these things glued and clamped for ages, certainly overnight. So I'm not sure why that's come apart, and I certainly don't actually glue those joints with paint on them. I think most people know that with these kind of things, I prefer to actually put the whole model together first and then do the painting. It's just easier to do it that way, and then plus the fact you don't have to start sanding the seams down that need to be glued together. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, get on with it and see what's wrong. As soon as I've got some progress, information, whatever you want to call it, as soon as I've got some work done, or as soon as I know what's going on, I will come back to you and show you the results. I've got a funny feeling that there's a broken wire on the inside, but we soon find out. Anyway, I'll come back to you as soon as I've got some work done. Okay, we've managed to get into the ship. I've actually left it on the stand. To be fair, with all the wiring and everything, it's just going to be easier to do this whilst it's on the stand. So I've literally taken off the whole of the nacelle, and the reason why I've done that is that both of the wires are snapped cleanly. I don't know how that's happened, to be fair, because I never glue those wires together, or I never glue those wires through the pylon into the fantail, and the reason for that is because the nacelles move. They need a bit of slack in them to actually move freely. So that's the reason why you never put glue on those wires to hold them down. Now, looking at the wires on the inside of that, it looks as though somehow super glue has got onto those wires, because it's actually they were stuck to the plastic of the kit. So I have no idea how that's happened, to be fair, and that would have happened after the kit was put together. I mean, I know when the whole kit was together, I had actually taken off the photo wedge for the impulse intakes, because they needed a bit of work being done to them and they weren't in the right position, so I had to remove those and put those back on. So the only thing that I can think of is that maybe some of that glue has seeped down into the kit when I was gluing those in, and it's got onto those wires and actually clamped them down in place, which has then negated the slack that was on there, and then broke the wires. So now what I've got to try and do is try and solder those wires back together again, with a little bit more wire in there, to be fair, because there's just no way that I'm going to be able to hold that up and put that into place there and then solder those wires up. So I'm just going to have to run a relatively long length of wire. I mean, I can hold this up there like that, I suppose, with something, but I'm still going to need a relatively long piece of wire to run from there to there, which I can actually tuck on the inside of the fantail, which isn't a problem. But I think what I am going to do when this kit is actually in, or when this warp pylon is back in, I'm actually going to glue it in place, and not bother moving them up and down like you can do. One of the other issues as well is that one of the ends of the peg that holds the pylons into place here has snapped off when I was trying to do it, but again, that's not really a biggie because I can drill a hole in there. I think what I might actually do is just drill a 0.5mm hole on this side and a 0.5mm hole on that side, run it deep on both sides, and then just basically use a 0.5mm drill bit as a pin, super glue it onto this side, put a bit of super glue on the other side, and then push it back in so it's pinned and glued. And then I can actually use a little bit of the Revell contactor glue as well on that side, and then squish it together, and hopefully between the pin and the glue melt and the plastic back together again, that should hold it fairly well, one hopes. But yeah, so I've now kind of got to find a way of doing this without actually causing any more damage or melting any of the kit plastic, which is going to be a bit difficult, I think. I mean, I've already cracked the whole thing wide open on that side. The only thing is that this part here is really stopping me from lifting the whole thing up, and I can't take that out, to be fair. I think what I might need to do is just increase that crack all the way around there to this side. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry, let me put you in camera. There we go. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to just take this part and crack the joint so I can splay the bottom part down so I can get into those wires. I think that is going to be the best way to do it. It will mean, unfortunately, that the decals that are on there are going to be ruined, but no biggie, because I've got some spare ones of those, so that's not so much of a problem from that point of view. I can use those to redo those. But yeah, I think that's going to be the best plan, is to actually, I think I'm going to solder the wires to the pylon first, and then I can put the pylon up to this, and then I can then solder those, and then hopefully put it all back together again and just sneak the wires in and then glue that in completely so it can't move. I think that's going to be the plan there. So as soon as I've got that done, I will come back to you. Good news is we've got the nacelle working. So we've actually got the facade scoop, the chiller grills, the nav lights, and the impulse engine working. So I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. So if we lift that up slightly, you can see the blue glow there coming from the nacelle. What I've had to do is basically to do the soldering on the wires. I basically had to open this up and basically keep it open with a couple of pens, and I also had to do the same thing for the warp nacelle pylon as well, to be able to get in there to do the wires. I also had to use a couple of pens to keep that open to get in there. So that's actually done now. I've also put some heat shrink tube over those solders as well. Weren't the neatest soldering, to be fair, but when you haven't got a lot of room to play with and you're conscious about melting the plastic of the kit, your solders aren't going to be that good, to be fair. But certainly it's working, which is good. I also, with the nav lights on the back there, totally forgot to light block those actually when I was in there. So I just got my cheap crappy craft paint from Hobbycraft. It's the actual Hobbycraft branded paint itself. I mean, it's most probably not crappy, but I would imagine it's most probably the same as the others, except for rebranded. But anyway, I just went in there and used that to light block the SMDs for the navs. So yeah, that's working now, which is good. So the next thing for me to do is to put the whole of the warp nacelle back together again. And I'm just going to procrastinate over that for a little bit, I think, before I actually do it. I'm too scared. No, I'll get that done, and as soon as that's done, I will come back to you. Well, we've now got the kit back together again, thank goodness. And it's still working, as you can see. So happy days. What I've done is this nacelle has basically been glued in place now, so it can't move. I know that kind of negates the whole idea of having movable pylons, but considering that the wire snapped, I don't want it to move anymore, to be fair. I mean, I had left I had left slack in there so they could move up and down. But I think what happened was, when I was using the thin CA to put the float wedge on for the impulse, I have the funny feeling that, I know that the super glue had seeped in and actually rested up against one of the wires and stopped it from moving, which caused the problem. So I'd rather not have that problem again in any way, shape or form from any different scenario. So I've just decided that I'm just going to glue that shut, and I'm going to do the same to this one as well. I'm going to glue this one shut as well. I'm just going to glue this one in the down position, and then that way I know that these wires on this side won't get damaged. The biggest problem I'm going to have, really, I mean, there's not much of a seam here now. I did splurge a bit of glue in there, and that kind of seeped out just ever so slightly and formed a ridge around the seam. So I'm kind of thinking by the time that sanded down, there's not really going to be any seam that needs to be done apart from this bit here where you got the top and the half that meet there. There's always a gap there because, well, the tolerance on the mould isn't that good, and we also have the same problem on this side here as well. So yes, I will need to put some putty in those bits, but as for the rest of it, I won't need it because the glue's squirted out just ever so slightly to form a nice hard ridge. It's almost like a pencil line, but an outy one. So yeah, that's going to be alright. The biggest problem I'm going to have myself is matching the paint, because I know I used the sky grey and I also used medium blue in there as well, just to help give it a little bit of a bluish tint, and I do believe it was neutral grey that I used in there as well, just to darken up the sky grey just a tad. So I've kind of really got to be careful about how I mix that paint, because I don't want to match it directly to this colour, because as soon as I put some clear coat on that, that's going to darken it down and it's going to look odd. So I think the only way that I can do that is to, as I say, try and match it as best as I can and then spray over it. And I think, you know, we're just going to have to live with it being a slightly different colour, because unfortunately I've run out of the other paint. I used the last little bit doing various touch-ups around the model that I needed to do. Never envisioned that I was going to have a problem like this, but there you go, these things happen. At least the thing is up and running and it's working, and that's the main thing. That's all I'm worrying about. So I just need to get on and sand that down and do the paintwork repair on that. I did actually leave the model on the stand when I'd done the repairs. I just found it easier, to be honest, to do the repair whilst it was actually still on the stand, than taking it off and having to worry about everything that way. But yeah, happy with the progress. I'll come back to you once everything's sorted out. Okay, we got some success, guys. She's fixed and in one piece, and she's still working, which I really can't say how happy I am about that. Yeah, it was a bit of a pain in the bum to do that work, but yeah, it's done and it's working. I've still got two LEDs out. One of the anti-collision lights on the one to the front bottom is missing, and one of the green nav lights on the bottom is blown as well. Unfortunately I can't do anything about those, because it would mean opening up the nacelle to do that, which is a bit of a tricky one. You'd end up ruining it, to be fair. And then the one on the bottom side, I would literally have to take the whole saucer section apart to get to it, so that's kind of staying as it is, really, to be fair. But she's done nevertheless. Yeah, she's caused me a few issues and a few heartaches, and some head exploding blood pressure. But yeah, she's now finished, and I'm quite happy about that. So what I shall now do is get you off the stand that we're on, and take you for a little look around her. I will come back to you on that one, because I need to unscrew the thing. So I shall be back momentarily. Okay, so here we are. We're now on unsteady cam, or vomit comet as I like to call it, and she's not looking too bad. I've taken off the switched off the main light. I just switch off the other light there, and as you can see, the nacelles aren't really blowing out the camera, so that kind of tells me that we're in the right ballpark with the level of brightness on that. And then we've got the 4 little shuttlecraft there. So we've got the Aero Shuttle, the Delta Flyer, the Type 8 and Type 9 shuttlecraft, I think they are. And then round to the front, we've also got the deflector array, and as you can see there, that's not actually blowing that out, and we got a nice little underglow from there as well, which is kind of cool. I like that. And then if we come around over the top, there you go, you can see the front anti-collision light working away, and the one on the top near the bridge, and all the lights at the bottom or on the fantail. So if we just turn this around as well, we should hopefully, if it's not going to overexpose the camera, so you can see the shuttlecraft in there just about, and they're looking quite good. And I like the light flooding out of the shuttle bay there as well. That just looks pretty cool. And then if we go down and up, we can now see the other little flashy light that's there. And then, as you can, well, you can't see it, but there is no green SMD on that side, which is a shame. But if we go over to here, I think, yeah, there you go, you can see the red one just about. And then you can see the good glow there from the impulse engines. So yeah, really happy with the way that she's finally turned out, given the amount of heart attacks that she's given me along the way. But yeah, you can see the well-defined ribs there as well, which is great. I still need to block off those torpedo launchers, so I'm not going to have those open. And the only thing left for me to do now really on this is, because we're missing a torpedo launcher on the back, and they were all done by photo etch, I'm going to have to buy that to replace it. You shouldn't really have that light there, but that's not looking too bad. So yeah, I need to get the photo etch for that, and plus the fact it helped actually, because you're meant to have 2 lots of hinges and there's only 1 lot of hinges for the fantail. You get 4 in total, whereas you should really have 8 of them. And then also that little bit of photo etch on one of the thrusters needs to be replaced, that disappeared and can never be found again. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way that she's looking. So she's definitely going to fit back in with the fleet again. And the good thing about this one is the fact that it's got the Tamiya flat clear on there. So we know that that's actually dried properly, compared to, I think it was Alclad that I used last time, and it just would not dry, which was a shame. That's what ruined that kit basically, and then the accent that it had on top of that as well. So yeah, that's going to be about it, guys. Thank you for following the build. It is much appreciated, and I'm going to get on and finish off the Kazon fighter. I nearly forgot what ship it was in, because it's been so long since we've seen it. So I'm going to get finished on that, and then after that the Marquis fighter will then be the next victim on my modelling table. Anyway, there you go, guys. So thanks for watching, and as always, please do take care.